Okay, so I'm on stream right now. Everybody has just put me onto this story about bodies turning up in the Houston Bayou. I didn't know they had a bayou in Houston. I thought that was like a Baton Rouge Youngboy type thing. But apparently, more than 200 bodies have been recovered from Houston's 2,500 miles of bayous and waterways since 2017. The years 2024 and 2025 were the deadliest, with 35 and 34 bodies recovered, respectively, creating an intense public concern and sparking widespread online speculation about a possible serial killer. What? More than 30 Whoa, this is terrifying. What the hell? Okay. So people are saying this is old. They're saying it's a real serial killer that is in Houston. Current status and key findings 2025. 2025 total, 34 bodies have been discovered in the bayou in 2025, including Buffalo, Braze, and White Oak. 2026 update, at least one body was found in early January 2026. Undetermined cases as of late 2025, the cause of death for many of these cases was listed as undetermined due to advanced decomposition. Tried to pull the little David maneuver on us, making it difficult for investigators to determine how the victims died. Victim demographics: victims are diverse in age, gender, and ethnicity, with a significant number being males, and many believed to be from the city's homeless population. Causes of death undetermined. Some have been accidental drownings, self-deletions, homicides. The official response from the Houston Police Department says there's no evidence of a serial killer. They're always super eager to tell us there's no evidence of a serial killer. Like, are you sure? Like, sometimes seems like there might be some evidence of a serial killer, if you ask me. But hey ho, it happens, right? Have we been on stream for an hour and a half already? I feel like I've barely done anything. Anyway, they're saying no evidence of a serial killer. I don't know about that. All right, that's crazy. So look, let's look at some of the news and the reporting about this. All right, bodies in the bayou. This is a real thing. So they were trying to connect this to David a minute ago. This is bodies in the bayou inside Houston's waterways and unsolved cases. Families want answers after loved ones found in Houston bayous. Right, and this is their copyright 2026. Click to Houston. All right, they stamped it. They've merged it. So this is a whole documentary about it. Since 2017, more than 200 people have been found in the bayous. Social media is full of questions. How did these people die? Was someone responsible? Is there a killer? What are the police doing to stop them? Harris County District Attorney says there's no serial killer dumping victims into the bayou, but every time a body is found in the waterways, people believe otherwise. KPRC spent 2 months speaking with the victim's family, Harris County's top prosecutor, and others for a 30-minute special, Bodies in the Bayou. Lauren Freeman, cousin of Kenneth Cutting Jr., expressed frustration about the investigation. For 19 months, she searched for answers about what happened to her cousin. His body was found in the bayou east of downtown Houston in June 2024. Houston police investigated, but later closed the case. Interesting. It says it's pretty close-ended, if you know what I mean. It's like, if you bring evidence, okay, what do you want us to bring? What exactly do you need to reopen his case? Kenneth Cutting Jr. is among 40% of people found in Houston bayou since 2017, whose deaths were ruled undetermined by the Harris County Medical Examiner. That statistic has fueled public speculation about a serial killer. Andy Cahan, Director of Victim Services and Advocacy at Crime Stoppers of Houston, said, not only is the public obsessed that this potentially could be a serial killer, from my perspective, it almost appears as if they want there to be a serial killer. Don't know about that. I think they just want you to look into this properly and actually work out, is this a real thing that's happening? Experts also examined the bayous themselves and whether they posed dangers. Dr. Phil Bedient, chair and professor of environmental sciences and engineering at Rice University, said the bottom is very, very slippery, and if you slip on that muck down there, there's a chance that, yeah, you could drown. District Attorney Sean Thier emphasized the bayou is a part of Houston's identity. We're the Bayou City. It's part of who we are. It's not something to be feared. None of them are something to be feared. They're something to be respected. I fear the bayous. It said, meanwhile, families like Kenneth want answer, justice, and peace. Freeman said maybe someone else's family... tighten up my microphone here. Police said... maybe someone else's family is going through the same thing and we'll see this. They'll see this and they'll get the courage to come forward and say, no more, just like I am, and they'll talk. Grizzy from Grizzy's Hood News, a dedicated community advocate, is raising awareness about people found in Houston's bayous. We've got to check out Grizzy's Hood News. That sounds amazing. She follows local news closely and said she's approached daily by residents asking about a possible serial killer in the city. Grizzy also hears from family members desperate for answers about unsolved bayou deaths. Let's check out what Grizzy's site is saying, okay? If it's real news, it's Hood News. Shout out to Grizzy. All right, we need to know about these Bayou deaths. She's talking about a whole bunch of other things on here. I'm not seeing the Bayou deaths. Let me do a little bit of research and find her reporting on this. So look, here's an article from Grizzly's Hood News about the situation. It says 2 bodies recovered from local bayous in 2 days. And this was back in March 2025. So this was just about a year ago. Okay. I don't want to accidentally show a body. But yeah. It says 2 bodies were recovered from local bayous in 2 days. Yesterday around 4 p.m. I got a message from a Hood News peep reporting a body found in Buffalo Bayou near San Jacinto Drive. Divers were on the scene and recovered what appeared to be a deceased male from the water just a few minutes ago. Another peep reached out about divers working in Brays Bayou near OST and Telephone Road, where a second body was discovered today. We're sharing 2 images, nothing graphic, to keep the community informed. At this time, no info has been released about the identities or cause of death in either case. That is crazy. So this is another article, right? Bodies in the Bayou, family pushing for answers. New data shows 189 bodies have been pulled from Houston area bayou since 2017. Let's see what this video is saying.
Houston's bayous, 189 bodies found since 2017. Nearly 40% of those cases have an undetermined cause of death. Families like that of a 22-year-old found in Buffalo Bayou are demanding answers. And KPRC2 News reporter Jaewon Jung is live at Buffalo Bayou Park with their fight for justice. Jaewon.
Yeah, that's right, Joel. His name was Kenneth Cutting. He was just 22 years old, as you mentioned, and his body was found in the bayou about a year and a half ago. But since then, more than dozens of bodies have been found. Tonight, I spoke to Kenneth's cousin, Lauren, who is demanding a thorough investigation. For many in Houston, the bayou is the heart of the city. But for others, it's a place of heartbreak.
I don't think anybody ever prepares you to lose somebody that's that close to you.
That includes Lauren Freeman, whose cousin Kenneth Cutting was found in the bayou July of last year.
Kenneth was a 22-year-old young man that was found dead in Buffalo Bayou.
I sat down with Lauren as she walked me through a chain of events leading to his discovery, a chain of events she's still trying to piece together.
One of the boyfriends came out and basically followed Kenneth down the escalator, and you can tell there was definitely a verbal disagreement.
Kenneth had been at Pete's Piano Bar downtown with his 2 boyfriends he was in a polyamorous relationship with just a few days before he was found.
About 2 o'clock in the morning, my uncle received a text message from one of the boyfriends saying that my cousin went crazy, that he was fighting him in a car, and that he got off at I-10 in Waco.
Kenneth's body was found about a mile away.
And this is not somewhere Kenneth had ever been in his life.
His death was ruled by the medical examiner's office as undetermined. KPRC2 has learned he is one of 75 bayou deaths ruled undetermined in the last 8 years. That's nearly 40% of all bodies found.
This is bigger than Kenneth. It's more than just him.
Do you think that Kenneth would know that you and your uncle are fighting to get justice for him?
Oh, 100%.
And she tells me she won't stop for her young cousin who loved art and was full of life.
So undetermined. We thinking that's undetermined? Hearing a little bit about what was going on before he was found doesn't make you wonder a little bit more detail what was going on with that, okay? So they're saying that 2025 was a record number of bodies being found in the bayou, right? Everybody's trying to get to the bottom of this. Here's the breakdown of bodies found in the bayou year by year. So that's just Buffalo Bayou from 2015 till now. So it's 6,515, bunch of, not too bad. And then 2024, it kind of ramps up to 9. 2025, it gets to 10. Okay, and then we hear about Kenneth Cutting Jr. There were mistakes in the autopsy report. Houston police refused to reopen the case. Pretty large mistakes. There was errors in spelling of where the body was found. Claimed there was medical hardware found in his neck. That's a little bit suspicious. That is a little bit suspicious. They're saying it was a clerical error. I don't know if I believe that. This is crazy. So this is in the New York Post. So it says California Post up there. More than 30 bodies recovered from the Houston area bayous this year, and this is right at the end of 2025, so this is up till recently, sparking serial killer fears. So more than 30 people, each with vastly different manners of death, were dredged up in the Houston area bayous this year, and locals are fearing a burgeoning serial killer may be on the loose. Last week, 3 bodies were recovered near bayous in Harris County, according to the Houston Police Department. The new discoveries brought the year-end total of bodies recovered in the swamps up to 34, just one short of 2024's record, as reported by the Houston Chronicle. Many have latched onto the viral rumors that the deaths were the handiwork of a serial killer. The math isn't mathing. I think there's a serial killer. I get Nevada's For You page now, and even in Nevada, they're talking about the Buffalo Bayou, so it's that bad. It's reaching another state across state lines, a tourist told ABC 13. There must be someone out there, no? Because it's ridiculous that so many people are dying in the bayou. I think it's unfortunate that they haven't found the person. Sandoval's friend Eric Cortez added. It says Houston authorities are trying to get in front of the rumors and put the on-edge locals at ease. There is nothing. I want to be crystal clear to indicate that someone operating here as a serial killer. There are many reasons for these deaths. None of them are a serial killer. How are you so sure? You can't say, oh, we don't know how a bunch of these people died. You can't say absolutely none of them are a serial killer. Only like 3 of them need to be connected for it to be a serial killer. So I do feel like he's protesting a little bit too much. You don't want there to be a serial killer. It doesn't mean that there's not one. It says the autopsy reports for bodies found in the Buffalo Bayou from December 22nd to 24th are still pending. The Buffalo Bayou stretches for about 53 miles through Houston and connects to many of the city's waterways, including the Braves Bayou, Carpenter's Bayou, Greens Bayou, Sims, White Oak. Houston has an estimated 2,500 miles of bayous and waterways in total. I want to go to Houston, not to the bayou, but definitely don't want to end up there. Apparently, many of the deaths have been attributed to the massive homeless problem in Houston, mental health and substance abuse issues. It's kind of a little known fact, but when you get into the bayous, it's very difficult to get out. When you combine that with someone that's high on a substance, someone that's intoxicated somehow, it makes it even more difficult. Yes, there are times where we recover bodies that were placed into the bayou criminally, no question, but that's not something that's a regular occurrence. You sure? Nearly 200 bodies have been recovered from the city's vast network of bayous since 2017, according to medical examiner records. Roughly 40% of the deaths were listed as undetermined, meaning investigators couldn't determine if people were killed in accidents, suicides, or homicides. Mysteries spurred by the bayous aren't the first serial killer claims that Houstonians have dealt with. A pocket of land near the I-45 corridor in League City, roughly 25 miles east of Houston, was nicknamed the Texas Killing Fields after 34 bodies of young women and girls were found there between 1971 and 2006. The victims of the Calder Road killings were all locals between 12 and 34 years old, save for an outlying 57-year-old tourist. By the 1990s, authorities summarized that the isolated field was a preferred hunting ground for multiple killers. Now, look, what do you guys think? Okay, let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. Do you think that this is the work of a serial killer? I feel like they're doing a little bit too much to try and just sort of brush this under the rug and say like, no, this isn't the work of a serial killer. Nah, it's absolutely nothing to do with it. Like, how do you know? That's not normal. And why are the numbers going up so much in recent years? But they want you to just think this is just like a big old coinky dink, right? But I feel like something disturbing is actually happening with that. I'm a little bit suspicious of it. Okay, but I don't know. There's a lot of creepy stuff. I'm definitely going to go to Houston soon. I went to New Orleans. I went to Baton Rouge recently. I did experience some of the bayou vibes, and that was quite interesting. It was definitely quite spooky. I wouldn't want to end up in a bayou. I think a lot of people probably do end up in bayous if they're not careful. Okay, but anyway, I'll tell you more about my trip to the Louisiana bayou very soon. And I'm very excited to show you what I filmed over there because it was pretty epic. But anyway, for now, I'm going to move on to something else. So thanks for watching this segment